All right, hi. My name's Carrie Faruqi. I'm going to be teaching your Calc 3 class this summer. All right, it's been only like 4 months since I taught an online class and made a video, but it feels like forever. And I was definitely having some issues with Google, but I think I'm good now. So hopefully everything is sharing properly. I do feel like a lot of this stuff in the course is self-explanatory, but I wanted to go through just sort of the basics with you. I don't want to take up a ton of time. The reason I don't want to take up a ton of your time is because you're going to have a lot to do with this class all summer. It's going to be like your part-time job, and you're going to be very busy. So I don't want to spend forever talking about the course, but I do want to talk about the syllabus and just kind of give you a rundown of where you're going to find the videos and guided notes and homework and where you're going to upload tests and stuff like that. So right now, I am sharing my home page for D2L for our course. So if you're seeing this video, I'm just going to send you a link to this video anyway to your email, so you'll be able to see it. But if you've never used D2L before, you're gonna, because I know a lot of you are from other universities and you're not from ECC, so you're maybe not as familiar with the systems that we use, but we use D2L. And you're going to access that from the home screen, elgin.edu. It's going to be somewhere in there, Desire to Learn. Or you can just go to elgin.edu/D2L and it should redirect you. You're going to log in just using your regular ECC login credentials, first initial, last name, and then you have 4 digits after that. Whatever you log in to get your email, it's the same login information, same password. And you should see our course listed in there. Click on that, and here's what you'll see. Now, okay, first things first. ECC never used to offer an online version of Calc 3. That came about due to the pandemic. So it wasn't approved summer of 2020. If there was a class on the schedule, it was canceled because it was an in-person class and it wasn't at that point approved for online instruction. But they approved it for fall of 2020. When they started approving these classes, what they did was they had certain instructors, full-timers at ECC. I'm not a full-timer, I'm a part-time adjunct, but different people would make these shell courses so that in the future, any teacher who is teaching the class could use the shell. So you might be wondering as you watch videos for our course, which I'll show you in a minute, like, wait, she's our teacher, but why is this other guy doing the videos? Well, it's because our course, our online course, was created by Professor Cunningham from ECC. He's the one who put all the videos together. He spent a ton of time on it. The notes were also just another collaborative project. Professor Wheaton worked on most of the notes, and Professor Kernler worked with them also. So yeah, it was a collaborative effort to get the online course going. But the idea is, like, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel every time. So I'm administering this course to you, but I'm going to be writing your tests. I'm going to be grading your tests. I'm going to be proctoring your tests. I'm going to be answering any homework questions you have. I'm going to be putting homework up for you, assigning due dates, all of those things. But a lot of this course was already put together by other instructors. And like I said, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. They spent a lot of time making these videos and notes. So I'm using the shell course because it's an online class. I'm teaching this class again in the fall in person. It'll be a totally different ball game, but it's online. So here we are. Okay, so you're in D2L, and I'm going to have this video posted for you on the announcements tab, but there's a little introduction here, also created by Professor Cunningham. He really loves Calc 3. So you can sort of read through that. And most of the stuff you're going to need for this class is going to be under the content tab. So what you're going to see here is course modules. There's an orientation page, which has some basic course information. The most important thing for you right now, and we're going to go through it in a second, is the syllabus, which I've linked in here just as an HTML page. And then there are going to be 8 weeks in this class. I know it seems like not very much time. And honestly, like, Calc 3 is a loaded subject. 8 weeks is a very short amount of time to learn Calc 3, but it's an 8-week class. You have 8 different weekly modules. So some of you have emailed me asking like, well, is our class meeting in person? The only times we're going to be meeting in person are for tests, and each of you is going to have tests, during different times. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So you are only going to really see me on a computer screen when you're taking your tests and I'm proctoring you. Other than that, we don't have any actual meetings. This is an asynchronous class. You're going to be watching the videos and doing the homework and keeping up with the pace in these weekly modules. Now, that being said, week 1 is sections 13.1 to 13.5. That's 5 sections of Calc 3 in 1 week, and your first test is going to be I'm proctoring the first one Sunday the 12th, and then there's another one Monday the 13th, I think, and then Tuesday the 14th. So it's going to come at you very quickly. So if you'll go into a weekly module, you'll see that each module will contain just an overview of what you're going to cover in that week. It'll have some objectives in there. And then here are the videos that you're going to see in each module for the sections covered in that module. So here's Professor Cunningham. You will find that sometimes he's very entertaining. He's very into Calc 3, like I said, it's his thing. So hopefully you'll enjoy the videos. I enjoyed going through them for this class because I have been watching the videos because I want to know exactly what it is that you are learning in them. So I am making sure that I'm assigning stuff that aligns well with the notes. Okay, so you're going to watch the videos. You'll see here 13.1 through 13.5 for the first week. We'll have 5 different videos. Most of the videos are under an hour. Some of them are like 40 minutes, so it depends, just so you have an idea of what to expect. One thing I wanted to point out, and I had mentioned this in an email previously, was that the guided notes are available to you for each video. So they're the exact same guided notes that I had sent for printing and distribution to the library. So if you decided not to pick up those notes because you have a home printer or some other situation where it's easy for you to print, you can get a PDF link to the notes next to each video. So you'd open up like guided notes for 13.1. There's a PDF link. You can download the notes, put them on your computer, print them out if you'd like. Some of you emailed me and said that you usually write on some sort of tablet. So if that works for you, that's fine too. You don't have to print them at all. You can just write on the tablet. But if you don't pick up your notes, they will just recycle the paper. Actually, they send it back to me first. If you did not get an email from me about notes, then it's likely because you were one of those people who emailed me like, please let me into the class. And I was like, ugh. Okay, fine. So you might have been let into the class late and maybe you did not get the notes. Email me right away if you were not in on that original email. I can't remember who was added when. But there are extra copies of the notes, so I'll make sure that I notify the library and that you're going to be coming to pick them up. So you just have to let me know so that I can let the library know to put some names on those extra copies so that you can come get them. If you have not yet picked up your notes, you'll probably want to. And if you're thinking like, oh, I can print out my own pages, it's probably not that big of a deal. It is almost 200 pages, I think, of notes. I want to say it's like around 170 some pages. So they really do accumulate. So depending on your printing situation, you really might just want to pick up the copies that ECC made for you. Okay, so let's see. Anything else I wanted to say about this? So yeah, each section will have a link to a video and guided notes. At the bottom of each weekly module, you'll see, every section is going to have homework. I put it in here as a formality. It's all going to be on my math lab. So I'm going to show you that in a second. But it's going to say like, okay, the homework for this is due June 12th, blah, blah, blah. Everything in here is due June 12th if it's homework. And we're going to have a quiz on Thursday, June 9th. And I'll talk about quizzes also in just a minute, and it'll cover 13.1 to 13.3. So your first quiz is this week on Thursday. Quizzes will be on my math lab, unproctored. You'll have the whole day to take them. it's up to you. They will be timed once you start them. And then it'll kind of give you a heads up if there's a test the next week, what it's going to cover, and then what the dates are that I'm offering that. That information will also be available on the syllabus. I put everything in two places, which is almost like not a good idea, because then if I change something, if I don't change it in both places, it's going to be a mess. But hopefully everything is aligned properly. I checked over this like 100 times, just redoing it and trying to get a sense for what I wanted to do with this class. So that's kind of how the weekly modules work. You'll notice that for the last weekly module, there's really nothing new to do. You'll be taking your 5th test and your final exam. However, you might not have finished all the sections the week prior, so there's always that. So what I do want to say, though, about the sections is all the modules are really just sort of guiding you as a suggestion. Now, all the homework, of course, those are actual due dates, but working ahead is not a bad idea. I'm trying to at least assign the homework a week in advance so that if you did want to go ahead to the next week, you'd be able to go a little bit farther. I certainly would prefer that you be ahead versus behind, just because, like I said, there's going to be a lot to do. And if you end up hitting a roadblock with a section and you get stuck and you need to go get help, it's better that you're prepared. So all of these are suggestions. So don't think like, oh, up until June 12th, I only have to do up to section 13.5, and I finished that last Wednesday, so we're good. Work ahead if you can. It will only be beneficial to you. You'll also find that chapter 13 is probably a lot easier than chapter 14, and definitely a lot easier than chapter 17. So you might want to work through that a little bit faster if you feel comfortable with it, just sort of get ahead. That's my suggestion to you. Okay, now let's take a look over here at the syllabus. So if you go to a different school, your IAI transfer codes are here if you're interested. Now, I put my student email address on the syllabus. It's not the end of the world if you send it to my kfaruqi@elgin.edu email. I find it's easier if students email me at my student Gmail, just because I always have that tab open and it doesn't make me authenticate the way my other one does. Sometimes if I haven't authenticated, I don't get my email pushed through on the other account. So it's easier if you send it to my student Gmail account. Please include your full name and course number in your email. So I might have 2 Carolyns, so make sure you tell me which one you are. And also, I am teaching Calc 2 in person in the evenings on campus. So don't say, "Hi, I'm John from your Calc class," because I'll be like, "Which Calc class?" I'll probably figure it out from your query, but just be clear what class you're in. Is it 210 or is it 230? You guys are 230, so make sure you tell me who you are. My voicemail's on here. I really hope you don't use it because I don't remember to check it very often, and I tend to think students these days don't really use voicemail anyway. All right, but it's on there because I have to put it on there. All right, our class is over July 28th, so that'll be the last day you can take your final exam. Let's see. It says that our day and time is internet because we don't have any meetings. I do have, though, a Google Meet code in here that you're going to be using when you take your tests. Now, that being said, I found out tonight when I logged into my Google Meet that Google has changed a lot of things in Google Meet, and like it keeps trying to kick me out because I'm like sometimes the only person in the call, and because I tend to record things over Google Meet, which I'm doing now. It also is starting to put like time limits on meetings, but that might not apply to my ECC account. So I'm going to have to verify that we don't end up getting kicked out of our Google Meet. If so, I'm going to have to move to my Zoom account, which I don't usually use. But there's a hyperlink in there that you can click on to get into our Google Meet, or when you enter into like meet.google.com, first of all, make sure you're using your ECC Google account. So you should be in your ECC email, and then you can click on like the little, however many dots there are at the top, and click on Meet. It's just one of the other options in the suite. So click on Meet and then enter this however many, 6, 79, 10 character code RKEIJPF MPJ. I don't even think you need the dashes, and that'll get you in as well. So you have either option, but we're going to be using Google Meet for test proctoring, or if you had an appointment with me for some reason, anytime I am meeting with you, it'll be over Google Meet. All right. Office hours are not required in the summer. And like I said, I'm teaching an in-person Calc 2 class. I don't have a whole ton of time to add in office hours if people aren't going to be using them. And I never know, especially over the computer. A lot of times students don't come to office hours because it's really hard to get points across. If you have some pressing issue, you may contact with me and try to make an appointment. And we can try to do it that way. If you're on campus at all, like I said, I'll be on campus on Monday through Thursday evenings. So you can even try to catch me there if you're around. I should note I have 3 small kids. They're 3, 5, and 7. And I don't usually teach 2 summer classes. I usually teach 1 summer class. So it's going to be a little crazy trying to get everybody in this crazy 30-person class taken care of. But we're gonna get it done because that's what we do. Let's see, your textbook is the Briggs textbook. I had mentioned before that you don't have to have the textbook. You do have to have the My Math Lab code, which you could have gotten in the ECC bookstore, but you don't actually have to buy the code physically on any sort of piece of paper. If you just go into My Math Lab and it'll ask you for a class code, and you can enter our class code, which is written on here, Faruqi 35831. I highlighted it, and it's also in like 4 different places all over the place because I really want to make it clear where it is. That gets you into our class so that you can view our homework assignments and our quizzes, and you can view your e-text. Do I want to talk about that now? Yes. Okay, so let me see. Every time I go to share my Math Lab window, my Math Lab has a lot of pop-ups, and sometimes I don't realize that I'm still sharing the original window when I should be sharing the pop-up. So I'm going to go over here to my Math Lab so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Am I in student view? Okay, share this tab. Okay, so when you are in our Math Lab class, and I am going to send out, I should post it actually. I have like a PDF instruction sheet for how to log in. Most of you have probably used my Math Lab before, and you're all pretty smart because you're in Calc 3, so I'm sure you can figure it out. But do let me know if you have questions about how to log in. But if you just go to mymathlab.com, it should sort of guide you through the registration process. Let's see. This is what you'll see when you enter our course. And I have a lot of homework that's going to be available to you on June 6th, starting at like 12:01 a.m. or something. So right now I'm coming to you from June 5th, 11:20 p.m. So I went ahead and made one of the homework assignments visible now. So maybe some of you are working on it right now. Just so that I could sort of show you what it looks like in my Math Lab. But one thing I really wanted to show you was the static ebook. And I hope everybody has a link for the static ebook because originally, for some reason, maybe I didn't realize there were 2. I used to work for Pearson, so that's not why we're using my Math Lab. I just think it's a really good tool to use. There's also an interactive ebook. You might find that you like the interactive ebook, and you might find that it's really cumbersome to use. You do have to download a player to use it, which is fine. I sometimes have a hard time getting my interactive book stuff to open on my Mac. I don't know why. I don't know if it's my browser. I don't know, but I tend to just really prefer looking at the static ebook. So if you're like, well, I didn't buy the book because I know it's just going to be used for this semester, that's fine. Go to the static ebook. You can look at the e-text. Oh, here's where I get the pop-up. So let me share this tab instead. And then it will open up a copy of the book. Now you can't, to my knowledge, download this. I mean, you can always, I guess, take a bunch of crazy screenshots. I don't think you can print anything from it either, but you can go to the table of contents. Now, technically, the multivariable calculus book is like chapters 13 through 17 of the big book, which is why we're starting out on chapter 13 instead of chapter 1. So scroll down to chapter 13. And then you can just start reading about what we're going to be doing right away, which is about vectors in the plane. And then you can kind of scroll through and bounce around. You can look at homework sets, examples. It is a nice book, the Briggs book. It's a very popular calculus book. Students tend to find this book to be very accessible. So either way, that's how you view the e-text. Okay, let's see. Back to the syllabus here. Wonderful. All right, so we're going to use D2L for, all of your course module videos. You're going to submit your test there. I'll show you that in a minute. Let's see. What else was I going to say about D2L? I don't remember. Of course, your grades will be posted to D2L. So if you're wondering, like, well, I did my homework in my math lab and there's a grade book in my math lab, but that's not my course grade. Yeah, your My Math Lab grade is only for your homework. So what I do is I import those scores into D2L. So D2L is where your total course grade is going to be. So there are prereqs for the class. There's a description of the class. Required course materials would be the My Math Lab access. You need some sort of a scanner. If you have a smartphone, you probably have a scanner by now because you guys have probably been doing online classes for a while. But I have Genius Scan. It's an app. It's free. So I would recommend Genius Scan, and Cam Scanner is another popular one. Some people use Adobe. Whatever you like to use to scan is fine, as long as you can scan to a PDF, because all of your tests, I should have put this in here. I might update the syllabus to include that. All of your tests must be scanned to a single PDF file. So I'm going to have to update that in the syllabus. I want to make sure that's clear. So if you don't know how to scan multiple pages to one PDF file, practice it now, because guess what? In less than a week, or maybe about a week, you're going to have to do that for your first test. So make sure you know how to do that. Oh yeah, and some sort of either a webcam or a smartphone that you can rig so that I have a good view of you during your test, since I'm going to be proctoring you during your test. I'm going to make a note of all the things that I was like, I should do that, and then I neglected to do. My idea was I usually send like pictures out of like example views of like, this is when I thought, this student was really visible to me during an exam and they had a really good viewing angle. And then I had some students who had awesome viewing angles, and I asked for their permission to use, I took like a screenshot and I said, can I use this screenshot to show students in the future what a great viewing angle would be? And they said yes. So I'm going to send pics of that, of test viewing angles. And then we're going to update to say scan to one PDF. So many things I didn't realize I forgot about. Okay, so you're going to need, yes, some sort of way for me to see you. So whether it's a webcam. If you don't have a webcam, I know that the ECC library used to check them out to students. So check with them and see if you can check out a webcam. I don't know if they still do that, but they used to do that. I can check too if I get a lot of questions about it. All right, so your course grade is going to be 20% homework. That's a lot. And the homework really should not be that bad. I'm going to be giving you 10 tries at first and then 5 after that. We'll talk about my math lab in a few minutes. But if you're doing the homework, you should be getting 20% of your grade right there. That should be like 100%. 20% of your grade should be 100%. Quizzes will be worth 10% of your grade. The chapter exams will be 50%. You're going to have 5 of them. So each exam will be 10% of your grade. And then the final exam will be 20%. It'll be cumulative. Okay, so standard grading scale. Okay, so the quizzes, I have not actually put your first quiz in my math lab yet. but they will be done on my math lab. You will log into my math lab and it should be on that home page where it says what's due on a specific date. Maybe I should go back there and show you that. Let's see, go back to my course. Hold on here, I got to get your student view. Okay. So when you're in my math lab, if you've never used it before, you get this calendar and it'll show you like what's due when. So this dot being here on the 12th, you hover over it and it says homework. And yeah, you can click on the dot and it'll say which homework it is. So when you have a quiz, there won't be a dot. It's either a square or a triangle, but either way, there'll be something else on a certain date. So you have a quiz this Thursday, the 9th. So as soon as I put the quiz up, as soon as it's available to you, you'll see the symbol for the quiz. So you won't see the symbol for it on Wednesday the 8th, but if you log in on Thursday the 9th to take your quiz, you'll see the little symbol. I think it's a triangle, and then you'll click on it and you'll take your quiz. And like I said, once you start it, it'll be timed and that's it. You got to do the quiz. So depending on what's on there, it'll probably be like a 15-minute quiz, especially since it's covering 13.1 to 13.3. That material is really not, like none of the questions in there are really long. So if it's like a longer question, then it might only be one question and it might be a 10-minute quiz. But the problems in chapter 13 are shorter for the most part. So there might be 3 questions for which, you know, you might take 5 minutes a piece. And a lot of you won't even take that long, but I'll give you that long. So that's, let's see, quizzes can be fun. The quiz will be unproctored. So unproctored, you can use your notes. Available on my math lab. You'll have the entire day to take the quiz. So you pick any time. Don't pick 11:59 p.m. because it'll close at midnight. Makeup quizzes will not be permitted. So you take them on the day. If you know, for instance, that you will be out of town for a wedding and you're leaving the afternoon of the 9th and you're going to be on a plane. And well, I guess if you're leaving the afternoon of the 9th, you should take it in the morning. But let's say you're leaving on the 8th and you're like, I don't think I'm going to have internet access, or I know we're going to be really busy with my sister's wedding. I can open it up for you early. If you let me know, I can make an exception, but I won't do it late. I'll do it early, but I won't do it late. So make sure that is clear. Let's see. Back to the syllabus. All right, so you're going to have 5 chapter exams. They will be open note. You will be allowed to use Desmos or GeoGebra for graphing. You'll see in the videos that Professor Cunningham uses both of those, Desmos.com and GeoGebra. He uses GeoGebra mostly for 3D graphing. Oh my gosh. The first time I ever taught Calc 3 was 6 years ago. And GeoGebra, I don't think was a thing. And I had to do all the 3D graphing on Maple. And it was just a lot. It's just a lot of coding and like a lot of know-how. GeoGebra is so easy. It's such a great tool. I really hope you guys make great use of that. Same with Desmos. That was not a thing. But I mean, you can do so much more with Desmos than you can with your graphing calculator. So you will be allowed to use those on your exams. You may not use some sort of calculation site like Wolfram Alpha. I mean, if you're calculating, you know, like a third derivative, or you're integrating and solving a differential equation, you will not be allowed to use Wolfram Alpha. I need to see all of your work. I don't need to question, like, does this look like something my student would have done? I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to gauge that with an online class. So you're going to have to make sure it's really clear to me that this is your work and that it did not get pulled off some website. And a lot of the ways I know that is because like key steps are missing. And it won't make sense. Like, how did they get here from there? I don't think so. So it'll be a little bit obvious to me. And if I can't see your work, you're not getting credit for it. And if I can prove that you're cheating, then you'll be getting a 0 for your exam. All right. Let's see. It's so negative. I don't want to be all negative. Let's see, the exams will be proctored over Google Meet. You'll have 90 minutes to take them. Some of you will finish them in less than an hour. Others will be, I'll be bugging you at the 89-minute mark saying like, okay, you got to turn this in. It just depends. Summer classes are usually really good. So I'm guessing most of you will finish before that. Before the exam, check in with me. Show me your ID. I don't know who you are. And a lot of the pictures I have are not good. So I might send an email requesting photos, especially since I don't have photos of a lot of you, since you don't usually come to ECC. So I'm probably going to be sending out an email asking for photo ID beforehand anyway. That'll make it easier. Yeah, you know what? I'll do that. Ask for photo ID. Then it'll take a little bit less time before the exam because let's say I offer 3 proctoring periods and everybody wants to take their test on the last day, then I'll have 30 of you to check and it'll take a while, especially when I have to bug you to change your camera angle because I can't see what you're doing. So if I have your IDs in advance, that'll save a lot of time. Maybe, I can have you submit that as your first submission to the Dropbox folder on our D2L. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so try logging in a few minutes early. I'm gonna also try to make sure I'm there a few minutes early to get everybody started. Obviously, if we end up starting a few minutes late, I'll extend your exam time. If you know that happens. Let's see. The start time. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna when you've been verified, I've checked your setup, you're good to go. I will send a PDF of the exam to your ECC student email. Print it out if you want. I really prefer that you print it out. If you have a printer, that will make my life much easier when I grade your exam. If you don't have a printer, that's fine. You can use your own paper. Just make sure everything is in the same order as it is on your exam. If you need to include extra pages and there's a little more space between them because you weren't sure, then you kind of worked out of order and went back, that's fine. Just make sure that when I see the test, it's in order. It's just a mess grading these online. Let's see. Yeah, so complete each exercise in order. Clearly label them so that I can see what you're doing. I've had students over online classes where their like phone dies and I'm trying to proctor them and all of a sudden I can't see them anymore, or like the camera keeps shutting off. We can't have that happening because I need to be able to proctor you. So if that's happening, then I'm just going to say, sorry, you're going to have to either take the test like a different day if there are other days available. Otherwise, we're just going to have to move on and that 10% of your grade's gone, because if it's not fair to everybody else who's being proctored properly if you're just like off camera and randomly coming back 15 minutes later, being like, oh, my phone died. Plug it in, make sure it doesn't have some setting where it's like going to sleep or turning off your camera or something like that. Make sure everything's charged. Okay. You will be scanning your completed exam. You're going to upload it to the assignments tab on D2L. So let's see. I don't really want to navigate there right now. I'll show you that in a minute. So if you look at the top, okay, fine. I guess it doesn't take that much longer to get to our syllabus. Assignments is up here at the top. Now, you won't see anything in there right now. And sorry, you know what? This is actually the teacher view. View a student. Assignments. So there's nothing in there right now, but when you take an exam, like for instance, test 1 next week, there's going to be a folder in there that says exam 1 and it might say chapter 13, but it might just say exam 1. So you're going to click on that and you're going to upload your single PDF file to that folder, and it's got to be in there. That's the folder I go into to use their grading tool to grade the exams. So it's got to be in there. But that's where it is. Okay, now I'm going to go back over here to the syllabus. Okay, let's see. The test must be oh, the upload must be completed within 10 minutes of the test end time. So you have 90 minutes to take the test. I'm giving you 10 minutes to scan it and upload it. That's 5 minutes more than you need at least. But just in case you run into any technical difficulties, you have 10 minutes. Any time beyond that it's not uploaded, I'm taking off a point for each minute, because it's not fair to everybody else that you've still got this test and like all of a sudden I don't know where you are, you're in another room scanning things and like who knows what's happening. So that's the way that's going to work. Let's see. Because this is an online class, you guys didn't sign up for a specific time. I don't know what your schedules are. I don't know when you're working. I don't know when you have other classes that you're doing. I'm trying to offer 3 different test times for each test so that I can meet everybody's needs. I'm always trying to get a weekend in there. So you'll see that for different tests, there'll always be at least like a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so that if you work Monday, Tuesday and you can't do it, you can take it on Sunday. Unfortunately, during the week, I can't do nighttime proctoring because I'm teaching another class. If the other class has a test, I might be able to proctor during those times because I'm already proctoring them anyway. So I only have like 10 students in that class, so I can kind of proctor during that time. And I think I even built some of that in to the schedule. These times are subject to change, but I'm trying to do my best to accommodate everybody. If for some reason none of the times work for you, you're going to have to let me know right away. We are going to have to send you probably to the testing center. I know some of you are remote because you live somewhere else and you can't take something at the testing center. So we're going to have to figure something out. The thing is, and this is the thorn in my side, let me tell you what the problem is. Offering 3 different test times means that I need to write 3 different versions of each test. And I need to write a key for each one of those. And I need to sit and proctor each one of those. So really the time that I'm spending on this class isn't so much instructional. It's all this busy work that I have to do with your exams. I feel like I'm just going to be writing tests and grading tests all summer long. So I'm hoping that we can just get everybody into these 3 different scheduled time slots. If you're looking ahead, because they tend to be the same each week, the reason is my kids are in summer camp Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So my Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule is different than my Tuesday, Thursday. So you'll see that if there's a test on a Monday, it's usually the same time each week. If it's on a Tuesday, it's later. But we can find something. It's not the end of the world, but I'm not all about writing 4 different versions of an exam. It's too much. I'm going to lose my mind. It's too much. So it's a lot. It takes me a long time to write 1 exam. 3 exams is a lot. Okay. You may not make up any exams unless prior authorization is given. And usually what I'll do is I'll have you take it early in the testing center. So I'm assuming most of you are in the area and you can go to the testing center to take your test if there are any conflicts. If you need to go to the testing center to take a test, you will have to schedule it. So I'll send it to the testing center. They'll send a link that you need to use to sign up to take your test in there. But they'll be given all the information that you can use your notes and that you can use an online grapher. Okay. Let's see. Where am I? You may not make up an exams. Yes. Okay. The final exam is comprehensive. It's going to cover all of the chapters in our class. It will be 2 hours. You may not make up the final exam. If you no longer wish to be in this class, we have some withdrawal dates here. Any student who withdraws after July 10th will be given an F. July 10th is a Sunday. I'll try to remind you when that date is approaching, but with an online class, I don't really see you, so it's possible that I might forget to remind you. If you think you're going to fail and you want to take a W, you have to do it by the end of the day on July 10th. Otherwise, if you do fail, you can't take a W after that day. You just end up getting whatever you get. Okay. So that's the deal with the W. Okay, so I mentioned before, the schedule here is listed as a guide. Your main priority should just be keeping an eye on the test dates and making sure you're ready for those. So if one week takes you less time and another week takes you more time, fine. It's not that you have to be doing these particular sections exactly in this order. I would work through the first week a little bit faster. And plus, you've got a lot of fire in you right now. You're ready. You're fresh. Do it while you're fresh. And then, you can head into next week totally ready because you did the first week. And maybe you even got to 13.6 this week because you're working ahead. Just keep in mind, exam one will start proctoring on the 12th. So be ready for that. Otherwise, the 13th or the 14th. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh, I don't really need to do this. Okay, so you'll see here if there's a quiz. This also matches the information in the modules that you see on D2L. So we went to the bottom of each module and it had the assignments for the week. This should be the same exact information. If you see a discrepancy, let me know. Like I said, I ended up just I redid a couple of things and I hope I switched in both places. I'm usually pretty good about checking stuff like that, but let me know if you see a discrepancy. We should be okay. Notice that for exam 3, I have a proctoring set up for July 3rd, which is a Sunday. July 4th is a Monday. No one wants to test July 4th, and I don't want to proctor July 4th. So we're going to do the 5th and the 6th. So if you are one of those people who has a full-time job and you can't be proctored on a Tuesday or Wednesday during the day, and you live out of state or out of the Elgin area, then you're going to have to do the proctoring on July 3rd. So rearrange your plans now. Yeah, so the last week of the class, like I said, I mean, if there's anything lingering that you didn't really finish the week before, originally this course was set up to have section 17.7 and 17.8 happen in week 8, but that didn't make sense to me because you're going to have to start taking that test, and you're not going to be ready if you wait that long. So try to get it done week 7 so that you're ready to go for week 8. The final exam, I might end up switching this. Originally I was like, yeah, I'll be proctoring my other class during these times, no big deal. But now I'm realizing that it might be kind of a fiasco getting everybody checked in, and I don't want to be doing that while my other class is testing. So it's possible that those times might change. I'll have to see. But these are tentative. If I do end up changing any exam dates or times, I will let you know as soon as it happens so that we can make sure that everybody is good to go and that everyone still has a time that works for them. All right, don't fall behind. Get help as soon as possible. Don't leave anything blank. Write something. Get as much partial credit as you can. That's the way the tests are going to work. I'm going to be allocating points for each thing that you do. So I'm going to have like a key that I'm going to be giving to you at the end of the test so that you can look at it and kind of see what you did well and maybe what you needed to work on a little bit more. But you'll see that, you got 2 points for doing that, 2 points for doing this, that sort of thing. So just do what you can so that it's not blank. Try to get something's better than nothing. I'm going to try to keep the homework assignments light just because I don't want you to feel like, holy cow, this class is like boom, boom, boom. It's so fast paced. It's a 5 credit hour class. And I can't get this homework done. I'm trying to keep the homework assignments to 15 questions or less. And that's for the questions that move a little bit more quickly, like the ones in chapter 13. As we get into later chapters, I'm trying to keep the assignments even shorter, kind of depending on how long I think the problems are going to take. So I'm trying to assign enough so that you get some practice with the problems. But I don't want it to be overkill. Listen, I am not trying to prove anything this summer with this class. I mean, it's not just because it's summer Calc 3, but I want you to understand the way that Calc 3 works, and I want you to have a good basic understanding of it. I'm not trying to throw crazy questions at you, and I'm not trying to throw proofs at you. I don't want you to feel like, holy cow, these questions are so hard. They have so many parts in them. I'm not prepared. What you're going to see on your test is going to be really similar to what you saw in the notes. And it's going to be very similar to what you did in the homework. It's not going to be anything out of left field. It's not going to be anything wild and crazy. We're going to keep it basic this summer. It's going to be what you need to know in Calc 3 and nothing beyond that. So where was I going with this? I don't know. Anyway, I was saying something about practicing. Oh, yes. Oh, that's where that came from. Oh, I was saying that you could always work through additional exercises in your text. Okay. The reason I said that is because all of my math lab problems are based off of exercises in your text. So as you're going through your textbook, a lot of those exercises are covered in my math lab. They just iterate values. So they have the same level of difficulty, but the numbers will change. So that's the way that my math lab works. It is written for your each specific textbook that it correlates to. So the way that your Briggs textbook lays out formulas and theorems is the way that my math lab will do it. They have different files for different books, just writing things however the authors specify. So you can always go through your e-text and do additional problems. The answers to all the odd numbered problems are in the back of the book. So I know if you have an e-text, the back of the book is just the end of the book. So look through it and you can check your work if you felt a little shaky, like you needed a little bit more practice. You can also go through something in my math lab called the study plan. There's a link to it. I might as well share this so you can see it. If you're in my math lab, you can click on study plan and go to all chapters. And you can view any problems you want out of chapter 13 or any of the chapters. And these all match the ones in your book. So if you're looking in your book, in the back of each section at the exercises, number 2, number 3, number 5, number 7, number 9, number 11, these are all covered in my math lab. And then more of them. So these are all the problems that are covered out of chapter 13. So let's say like, Mrs. Faruqi assigned 13-141. I did okay, but it took me a couple tries. She didn't assign 42. I think I'll do that one. So then you can click on 42. It's a pop-up, so I'm sharing that. And then you can try that one. It won't be recorded as points, but it'll be extra work that you can do through my math lab if you don't want to do it through the book. Another thing I wanted to point out now that we're in my math lab, I was going to show you this later, but I might as well show you now. Let's say that you are stuck on a problem. Here's what I love about my math lab that you don't get when you just do problems out of the book. You can click on either help me solve this, where it's going to pull this same problem out into a separate window and it's going to walk you through it step by step, or you can click on view an example. I'm going to click on it. Let's see, can you see this? It's another pop-up. Yes, okay. So, oh no, when you click on view an example, it's going to give you a problem that's similar but not the same. You can see yours started out with a point Q with an X value of -9. The example had -11, so on and so forth. But it'll walk you through like, okay, here's how to do this problem. Here's how to find your position vector. We're going to identify the values in these points. And then you're like, okay, I think I remember how to do this. And then you go back and you try it again. And then you can, if you're still confused, here's another thing you can do. You can click on get more help here at the bottom. And there's a link to ask my instructor. So you can click on that and it will send an email to kfaruqi@elgin.edu. That's me. And it's going to tell me what problem you're working on. And then you are going to tell me what your question is. So you're going to say, I was working on this problem and I wasn't sure why they said that y sub 1 was such and such value. I don't understand that. Ask me a specific question. Don't just write in the box, I don't get this one. Because if you send me this over email and you say, I don't get this, I have no idea what it is about the problem that you don't get. Like, did you do the first part, but you couldn't finish it? Or like, do you have nowhere to even, like, you don't have any clue where to start on it? I'm not sure. In general, if you have a question, the first thing you should do is go back and look at your notes. But if you have a specific question, like, I don't know, when I did it this way. And is it okay to do it that way? Or like, what if I did that? Like, I'll have a lot of students who'll be like, what if I wrote it this way? Would that be okay? Something like that. And then so you write your message and then you click send. And the beautiful thing about this, oh, I love this. It comes to my email with a link. I see your message with whatever your question is, which By the way, I want to say, don't write this. Don't say this. Okay. So it's going to give me a link to the exact problem you were working on with the exact same numbers. So if you're like, why did they get y sub 1 equals whatever number they got? I'll be able to see what problem you were working on, and then I'll know what you're talking about. So this is the best way. Don't email me randomly and say, hey, I was working on the homework. I was doing this problem, number 23, and I got confused about like why they said y sub 1 equals whatever it was, because it's going to be a different value for you than it'll be for someone else. Okay, another thing I want to say about my math lab is when you're working on the homework, and by the way, I'm going to go into a homework assignment. I don't think I'm sharing my screen anymore. Okay, Pearson. Oh, I don't want to share that screen. Share this one. Okay. Oh, sorry, there's just a lot to say here about my math lab if you've never used it before. Okay. So I want to make sure that you understand the way that the attempts and tries work in my math lab. So the first homework assignment is up. It has 15 questions in it. So let's say you're working on this homework assignment and you are like, okay, well, I'm looking at this vector and I'm looking at the vector OF and like, I'm not really sure how to get there. I think it's like 2u. Okay. So you click on it and you click enter or whatever it is. You can say check answer or you can just hit enter. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm not sharing the pop-up. Here's the pop-up. Okay. So it'll come up with a box. It'll say like, nope, not right. And then it'll give you a bunch of information that'll try to help you solve the problem. So you're like, okay, so I'm going to try it again. Well, maybe it's 3u. I don't know. And then you click enter and it says, okay, try again. Now notice that after you did that twice, this final check box comes up here at the bottom. So you are going to get 3 tries for each particular attempt. So 1 attempt equals 3 tries. I know this is confusing. So you get to try it one more time. I'm like, okay, I don't know, 7u. And then it's like, okay, no. Like the correct answer is 2u plus 5v, but you answered 7u. Clearly not the same thing. So you're like, okay. But notice that if you now try to do this problem again, because like I said, for chapter 13, you're going to get 10 attempts at each problem. That means technically you're going to get 30 attempts because for each attempt you get 3 tries. I'm sorry, it sounds crazy, right? But you're going to get to try each iteration 3 times. If it doesn't work, you're going to get to try 9 more of them, 3 times each. So you're going to say similar question. Now, what you're going to see happen here is when you say similar question, well, now it's not asking you about OF anymore. It's asking you about OL. So it's going to ask you about something similar, but it's not going to be the same question. Now, yes, technically, if you end up doing this several times, you might end up getting the same question twice. So unfortunately, sometimes students are like, oh, I just keep getting it wrong as many times as I need to until I can get the same iteration to pop up. And then I just use the answer they gave me. Please don't do that. And if you're doing that, don't tell me you're doing that because the whole point of doing homework is to learn the subject. But again, if you're not sure, you have these help aids at the bottom. If you are just stuck on one part, send me a question through the Ask My Instructor link. If you feel like, I'm not really sure about that problem, I want to go to the next one, go to the next one. I don't think you have to save when you click out. I think you can just exit out. I don't know, but notice also, am I not sharing anymore? Let's see. It's finicky. Course home. Now it'll say that, I did question 1 already, sorry. And then question 2, it's like, nope, didn't get it right, 0 out of 1. And of course, all that stuff shows up in your grade book. Am I on student view still? There we go. So you can go to the grade book and it'll tell you what you got for each assignment. So I got 1 out of 15 because I only did 1 problem. but there'll be more that'll show up there. Actually, in 4 minutes, it'll be midnight. So this is clearly taking way longer. Everything I do takes longer than what I intended. There's just so much to say. But let's finish up this syllabus because you guys have some calc to get moving on. Okay. ECC has something called the Math Lab. You can print stuff in the Math Lab. You can work with other students there. It's an online class, so chances are you're probably not going to use the Math Lab, but it's available to you and the hours are on here. ECC has in-person or online tutoring. So if you're like, what the heck, this instructor doesn't really have office hours, what am I going to do if I get confused? Well, if you are so inclined, which you should be if you want to be successful in calc, you should get free tutoring through ECC. Your tax dollars are paying for it. You might as well make use of it. There's drop-in tutoring. Let's see, it says, oh, I left something highlighted there. In-person tutoring is available for math this summer on a drop-in basis. Walk into the library. It's the library, C230. Monday through Thursdays from 9 to 8. That's a really long span of time. You can always call if you have questions. You can send them an email. And since you're in an online class, if you're one of those people who's not on campus, that's fine. Sign up for online tutoring. If you click on this link, elgin.edu/life@ecc/tutoring, there's a sign up sheet that you can sign up for online tutoring. And I think you get like an hour, but there is always at least one tutor that can help you with Calc 3. Some of the other tutors only do like algebra and maybe stats. So it is a little bit harder when you get into the higher level math classes that we offer, but somebody should be available to help you with Calc 3 this summer. So please make use of that because I know that my office hours are limited and I'm sorry. I wish that there was a workaround for that, but I only have so many hours in the day. I know it's terrible. I wish there was more time, but there's not. So please make use of the tutoring center. It's free. Okay, cheating, read that on your own. It's serious. I don't even want to get into it because I'm going to start getting negative again. I don't want to get negative. Disability services. If you have a disability for which you require accommodations, you must get it documented and make sure that once it's documented, they'll send it to me. So make sure that you are advocating for yourself. If you don't have official documentation, I cannot provide an accommodation to you like extra time on a test. Just I can't do it because it's not fair to everybody else unless you have documentation, in which case I must provide accommodations for you legally. Otherwise, you'd be in legal jeopardy. So please make sure that you're advocating for yourself. Emergency closing, it's a rarity during the summer. It's a rarity, but you might want to sign up for rave alerts. It's somewhere on the home page. They'll text you if something is going on. You'll get like an email, a text, and a phone call, but try to get your email pushed to your phone. And then if there is an emergency, I know it'll just be a lot of random emails, I know, but you'll know right away. It'll definitely be emailed to you. Like one summer, there was some sort of storm and it knocked out the power. And then another summer, there was like some sort of like water main break and the school had no water. It was weird. So things do happen in the summer. Okay. Let's see. I have final notes here of things that I was going to try to not forget to mention. Let's make sure I covered everything. Yes. Okay. Set yourself up for success. Talked about this. Yep. I covered everything. If you have questions, send me an email. Otherwise, please go get started on that week 1 module and get started on 13.1. Get to know the vectors. It's going to be the easiest chapter you're going to do in this class, I think. And then it's going to get a little bit more challenging after that. So enjoy it this week, but don't be like, oh, well, she said it's easy, so I'm just going to wait till the last minute. Get it done now. Set yourself up for success so that you can spend a little bit more time or get a jump on what we're doing next week. Anything else I was going to say? No, that's it. Email me with questions if you have them. I'm usually pretty good about email, but make sure when you do, you include your full name and your course number in your correspondence. You guys have a great semester. Yeah, it's gonna be over before you know it. And that's all I got. All right, wonderful. Get started. Have fun.